Thank you so much, Mr. Winder. Good morning, everyone. It's truly a pleasure to be here, and I want to say from the very start, I am not an ICT professional. Yes? And you're saying, well, why is the person who's the HR consultant and trainer speaking at a ICT business forum? The reality is, if we are talking about anything related to ICT, as far as I'm concerned, humans have a role to play in it. And so therefore, I am here to shed some light and provide some insight as to what the connection is and why it's ever so important. The topic that I have been given is AI readiness starts with you. And at the end of the day, before we can bring any of our tools into alignment and speak to many of the strategies that AI, ICT, technology interface with, we have to remember the importance of preparing and having readiness within our human capital as well as in our organizations. And so at the recent Bahamas Business Outlook, it was said by Mr. Roger Archer, who's the managing director of Scotiabank, if you are not prepared to use digital solutions, you'll be left behind. Please raise your hands if you intend or want to be left behind in 2026 and beyond. So I have some individuals who not only want to be on cutting edge, but you want to be ready to adapt to whatever is out there in the business forum and ICT space for 2026 and beyond. AI has provided for many people a lot of trepidation. Whether you tell someone, well, just use ChatGPT or use Copilot or any one of the other tools that's available, the reality is many people do not approach it with a sense of readiness and acceptance. It's found that AI fails less often because of bad algorithms. It fails more often because people and organizations are not ready for it. And so today I have a three-dimension roadmap that we intend to cover. The first leg of our roadmap, we are going to define what AI readiness is, and explain some of its components. The second part of our roadmap is that we're going to explore the psychological and organizational features of readiness. And the third leg of our journey involves providing those practical steps to ensure AI readiness in your organization. So what is AI readiness? Artificial intelligence readiness is the measure of an organization's preparedness to implement and scale AI technologies effectively. More often than not, a lot of people thought that AI readiness applied to having the right tools, the right infrastructure, as well as the right data. But research has shown that technical readiness alone is insufficient. There are significant barriers and even enablers to AI readiness. And so the components that need to be looked at if you think about readiness include not only skills, but also reflecting on the culture of an organization and what is the feel and belief around the use of technology. We have to look at the confidence of the people who have to utilize these skills and these tools, as well as ethical understandings and strategic alignment between the technology itself and what it is the organization aims to achieve. And so at the end of the day, AI is not just about acquiring AI tools, but rather it must encompass a more broad and comprehensive scope of alignment. And so there are two features that I want to share with you today that really form the basis of the bulk of what makes AI readiness be at a sometimes low measure on the barometer in organizations. And the first is psychological features. Now you said to Ms. Pinder, psychology and AI, psychology and business. Oh, psychology is very important. How many of you took Psychology 101 in university? And it was given to you for a reason, because psychology is the bedrock under which we must learn how to function and interact with others. When you know human behavior, you have a good understanding of it. It helps to inform you as you make choices, as you make decisions, and as you employ different practices. So what are some of the psychological features of AI readiness? First of all, we must look at AI self-efficacy or confidence. It is said that if an individual believes that they can understand, use, and work with AI tools effectively, then you have practically won the race, all right? And so confidence shows that it is a prediction of not only will they acquire the skill, but how often they will use it. And low confidence, my friends, leads to an avoidance of the tools or over-reliance on automation. And you and I both know that in order to use any of the generative AI tools, you have to have some level of reasoning. You can't just say to the AI tool, tell me how I'm going to be a millionaire. It will give you something. But you have to not rely on automation. You must be able to develop a prompt that says, show me the steps to be a millionaire by the age of 30, given the fact that I am in the ACT space, and also consider that I am going to be using a human capital base of 30 employees, and you will get far more out of it. And so automation itself, or over-reliance on automation, is something that that can happen as a result of low confidence. And finally, low confidence leads to a resistance or fear of replacement. Many people believe at the end of the day that if they utilize AI more and more, or bring it in line with their organizational goals and company culture, that it's going to replace human beings. And that's not necessarily the case. You're going to hear later on today from my colleague Duran how AI, as a matter of fact, is going to assist you with your workforce and workplace offerings, all right? And so the important part is, remember that AI efficacy or confidence plays a major role in AI readiness. The second psychological feature, if we look at it, talks about trust in AI systems. And so users must trust, first of all, the accuracy of AI outputs, the fairness and lack of bias that it proposes, and the intent behind AI deployment. Where there is no trust, you will have rejection. And if you have too much trust, you will have blind automation. And so, to use a coin that was in a political space some time ago, it's a matter of trust. That's what it boils down to, all right? The third psychological feature is perceived usefulness and relevance. We must be able to show our people how the use of adopting AI leads to clear productivity gains. Show them how they can work smarter and not harder. Show them how at the end of the day they can get the same or even better outputs as a result of the collaborative usage of AI. Show them at the end of the day it reduces cognitive load. I don't know about you, but cognitive load is a real thing, meaning that our brain gets dreary, especially after a whole week of doing analytical work and so forth and so on. And when you have AI tools to support you, the usefulness also leads to better decision support. With the more information you have, you can make more informed decisions. And so AI then doesn't have to feel like it's being forced or causing a disconnect, but rather it is something that will be useful to you in making you work better, work stronger, work harder. And lastly, what is that last psychological feature of AI readiness? Fear, anxiety, and identity threat. So common psychological barriers, I listed already before in that job displacement is a real fear. Fear of skill obsolescence is also a fear, and the loss of professional autonomy. So we must reduce anxiety by showing them that it is through the experimentation with the platforms and with the tools that we're able to really have better outputs. And when people look better, they're more inclined to want to try something. Apart from the psychological features, what are the organizational features that play a role in AI readiness? The first is culture. According to Peter Drucker said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture plays a big role in whether or not you're going to have anything have fruition in your organization. And so you must have a culture that not only supports the use of technology, but develop in the organization a culture that shows that we are going to use it in order to be our strategic advantage. When you promote that and have that infiltrate and be in the fabric of your culture, then you will have a system or an organization or a team that is AI ready. The skills. So employing through training and other avenues, ways in which your people can become more and more familiar, and with familiarity, they in turn will be less afraid, their confidence level will grow, etc. And the last organizational feature is, of course, infrastructure. And when I think of infrastructure, I'm not thinking about so much the technical tool itself or the platforms. I'm thinking the infrastructure from a governance and an ethical alignment standpoint. So in other words, what are the policies that are going to be driving and ensuring that the AI usage is going to be something that is not going to get us in trouble at the end of the day. So, as we have mentioned all of those things, AI readiness is important because without it, your investments will lead to poor integration, resistance to change, and a lack of skills. And so, my friends, what are our steps toward making your business or making your team or making individuals AI ready? Well, they're actually quite simple. And after I would have shared these steps, I'll be out of your hearing, just like that. Short. Okay. So as tall as I am, that's how long I speak. Yes. So the first step, assess current skills and identify gaps. If we want to make our organizations adopt and embrace AI the way we should moving into 2026 and beyond, then we have to first make an assessment. So whether your IT department does that or your human resource department collaborate together, we have to assess what is the skill level of our individuals. Are they still people who can't even, technically turn on the computer? And in some organizations, that is the case. We have people who still don't even want to use the computer. So to move them from that to being where they're now using AI tools is going to be, probably a challenge, but it shows it is an opportunity for training and for upskilling to take place. Secondly, invest in education and training that focuses on AI literacy. So this is a little different. This is where we actually now employ or have someone in the space, probably even persons like yourself in the room who will be consultants, who can go in and develop programs that allow organizations to have AI fluency and to be literate on the things that they can use and the ways they can use AI. I have an assistant, and she is 29 years of age. And I look at that and I say, Lord have mercy. What is this? Under the age of 30. But can I tell you she's brilliant? She's absolutely brilliant. And can I tell you this is her domain? This is her domain. And when I say that she has had me look at some things that I would have never thought of from a technological standpoint, but she has shown me through what she has done and her uses of AI in my business to propel my presentations, my whole viewpoint. For example, the images that are on this screen, all AI generated. Okay? So no need for me to, hire that high-tech, sorry, Mr. Videographer, high-tech guru who's going to charge millions of dollars, right? AI can make me look good and increase my professional image, yes? And so at the end of the day, we want persons in this room to think about how can you tap into various markets or various spaces, knowing your ICT, having an ICT knowledge that you have and exposure and experience in order to help organizations with their education and literacy programs. The third step for AI readiness is build pilot projects in order to gain experience. So I always say, start small. It's always good to start small, probably with one team, utilizing it more and more, and you expand it out to the entire organization till the point that it becomes a part of the culture. The fourth step, establish governance and ethical guidelines. So like I said, it's important that you have policies that align to how we're going to be using AI in our organization, et cetera, et cetera. It's no different than when COVID took place. People all of a sudden had to work from home. And so as HR teams, we had to develop policies around remote work, right? And so with everything that we do in an organization, we must think about how are we going to align it through policy and making sure that we are employing the best governance practices. And finally, we have to look at AI initiatives and see how they link to clear business and ICT goals. And I think that is what we want people to see. If you can provide the data that shows that you, first of all, save more money through the use of AI because the use of time has been, is now more efficient, or if you show how you can be more productive and have more gains and as a result increase revenue streams, this is how we show people why it's so important and why we need to look at it. And then showcase as well, what are our core values? And if one of your core values in your organization is innovation and adoption of technology, then that's a clear link that lets your people know why we are heading in the direction we are. So those are some practical steps towards AI readiness. And so, unlike the gentleman who's in the middle of the screen who is an AI bot, I don't think we're going to be there quite just yet. So we have no need to be fearful or to be concerned that, listen, our manager, director, or executive who we're going to sit in front of is an AI generated leader. We still need leaders like yourselves, like the persons in our organizations who can help us to drive towards AI readiness and efficiency. And so, my friends, AI readiness is a mindset, yes? And not just technology. With that being what it is, I want to thank you not only for your time, but I want to thank you for your willingness to hear about AI readiness. And if this is not applied to you because your businesses are already at that 80, 90% of readiness, then I want you to spread the word. Spread the word and get more and more people on board, because at the end of the day, whether you're in financial services, whether you are in insurance, whether you are in retail, no matter what space you occupy as a business person, AI can help you in that space to be more lean, to be more agile, and to have the type of revenue outcomes that you would like to see. And so, any questions at this time for me or comments? Yes?
How do you deal with leaders in your organization who are tech-averse, and their view is that, listen, I'm okay in the next 4 or 5 years, and we continue to manage what I do and leave it to the younger people?
You know, that is a real question, because you do have a lot of leaders, and some of them, as is said, they're on their way out. They don't feel they need to learn something new. They don't feel they need to be adapting anything. But what I always tell leaders is the basic principle of leadership, and that is your role is to develop future leaders. And your role is also to ensure that the organization, when you go off the scene, is in the best place. So even if you don't fully understand or can't embrace it, what is your succession plan in terms of your number two? Are they going in that direction? And if they're not, putting them in a scenario either through training, through upskilling, that will allow them to now be at the position to take the organization to the next step after you're off the scene. Someone told me the other day that Pinder, I'm an old dog, man. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I get it, and I understand. And sometimes the dog tired, the dog don't want to learn nothing else, right? But we have to employ upon our leadership that it is still not about just them and their feeling. It is about what is for the overall good of the organization. And if you want your organization to be in good stead, and for the record to reflect that you left your organization in the best possible light to be able to handle future instances and elements that will come, then as a leader you should look at it. So I think that's the approach that I would give them. Yeah? Thank you. Any other question? All right. So thank you ever so much. And if you would like to connect with me, my contacts are on the screen. My cell number, my email address, what else? My social media handles. You know, that's my assistant. I got her social media handles, right? And of course, if you want to be a part of my mailing list to hear about other opportunities for training and development, you can scan the QR code, and that will happen. Thank you ever so much, and enjoy the rest of the day.